Hello guys, welcome to today's STPL. I've just seen the colors in game 1 and I am not happy. There are two people that are going to get a right beating here because what on earth have they done? This is awful. But we don't need to worry about that too much. Let's have a look at the team rankings for the beginning of week 12. There's obviously 2 weeks left. This is the beginning of week 12, so we've got we have 14 more best of 5 series to go until we get to the playoffs, so we're going to see 2 of them today, which will take us down to 12 left, but very important series coming up. Today we're going to see Net Wars, EF, NaS and pSi. Now pSi are the only team out of those 3 that don't have a chance to get into the playoffs. From place 11th to place 4th, pretty much anything could happen, so we've got 9 teams essentially. That's not 9, I can't count. That is, oh my goodness. I've been, why did I try and do maths? Why did I try and do maths on stream? There's 8 teams. I was only 1 off. Okay, I'll forgive myself for that. 8 teams fighting for a chance of getting into the top 8 spaces. The top 3 spaces are pretty much sewn up, unless like a major problem happens to both Valhalla team and White Clan. So essentially we've got 8 teams fighting for 4 spots, so that's kind of crazy. Unfortunately for Nice, DM and Psystorm, they're not going to be able to make it here, but that's just the way things have to go sometimes for some of our teams. Now let's have a look at today's matchup, then we'll have a look at the rosters. So we're going to have NaS versus pSi. Lucky Noob saying STPL does math, boom. Yeah, that's what happens when I try and do math. Now, NaS definitely are the stronger team here. There was a couple of walkovers in this series, unfortunately. I think this is the only games with walkovers this week, so I put them both on the same day. IRK might be safe in the playoffs, but it depends how the next 2 games go. Now, with Psystorm, they've not won too many of their series overall in the STPL anyway. They're 1 for 10 in Season 2, so they're definitely not going to be able to make it to the playoffs, but they can block NaS. Now, in terms of the walkovers, let's have a look at the rosters of today, and then I'll tell you what games are walkovers. Game 1, we're going to be seeing that one. It's going to be Marine versus Kingdom. But part of me wonders if we really want to watch this game after I've seen the colors. Praise versus Eon Zerg was a walkover in favor of Eon, as far as I'm aware. Michael versus Dragon, we're going to see that game. That should be kind of cool. And ZBT Mitak versus Terra, that was a walkover in favor of Mitak. So Terra doesn't really give walkovers very often. So I wonder what happened there. Definitely, I don't think Terra's actually ever given a walkover in the STPL, so unless I've got things completely confused, I've essentially asked Dragon to make sure he tells me the actual walkovers, but the way he's written it in the report thread makes it look like Mitak got the walkover, unless it means... Oh my goodness, this is too confusing. You know what? We're not going to take the walkovers into account to begin with, and then I'll report the series afterwards. But let's have so the 2 games we're going to see should be quite fun. Let's have a look at our first map. I need to find a better way of getting people to... Yeah, so Ziggy just said in chat, Terra forfeited that game because he beat him on ladder yesterday and he's given up on life. Well, I don't know if you saw the game, but Radley beat Terra with nukes on Fighting Spirit, and it was a glorious game. So if there's anything like that, I'll give it to you, but other than that, I won't. Desperado is going to be our first map. Pretty cool map. Not too much to explain about it other than the fact there's 2 gases in the main and no gas at the natural. Hey, Ismail, good to see you, man. Let's actually have a look at the 2 players. We're going to start with Psi's Marine. He's got a 25% win rate overall. He's not done the best, but he does play pretty much every single race, so he kind of puts himself at a little bit of a disadvantage because he doesn't have the same amount of time to completely perfect a race like some of the other players have. And he also gets put against some really strong opponents, so I'm not going to take that away from him. He's doing quite well in Season 2. Essentially in his last 10 games he's won 4 of them, which isn't too bad. But Season 1 was definitely a little bit rough for him. And his opponent going to be for NaS's Kingdom. Kingdom feels like he's a sub, because essentially whenever Sugo can't play, Kingdom swaps in for him. Kingdom very rarely actually gets sent out on the main roster. So it's kind of funny, like Kingdom subs in for Sugo all the time. He's only got a 36% win rate overall, so I think this could be quite close, where essentially we have both Protosses here. They're both relatively low on the win rate. Both of them have actually won similar amount of games in Season 2, although I say that, and when you look at most of Kingdom's games, they're all in Season 1, dating back from July last year, so kind of crazy. And look at that, he actually ended up having to play against Dandy, which is just ridiculous. Like, how does that happen? But yeah, let's have a look at game number 1. It's Sugo versus Kingdom. I am incredibly sorry for these colors, guys. There is nothing I can do about it other than beat Marine and Kingdom over the head for not hosting top versus bottom. Let's get into the game. Now, starting us off in the top left position, I believe this is Marine in the yellow. I can't tell. And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right, which I think is some kind of green, although it may be pale yellow. I guess it's like a lime green, essentially. It's going to be Kingdom. These are the worst colors you could ask for in a PvP. Wait. The buildings? No, the buildings do look the same. Yeah, yellow versus lemon, as Edgewater says. Oh my god, yeah, 80s. This map does have a double gas main. I've not got the sound playing. There we go. Lucky Noob saying he mistakes this map for fastest whenever it plays. Now, I do apologize once again for the colors. I do tell people to host on top versus bottom. I reiterate it every single week. And sometimes people just don't listen. You know, I don't know what I can do. It's a global team league, like I can't host all the games myself. Hey Albert, good to see you, man. Lucky Noob saying drop mirror matches. Jesse's saying so happy I'm colorblind. Oh my god. Edgewater saying next time there's a match like this, detract or distract points from both teams. Yeah, Kesper didn't fuck around, but essentially Kesper, I mean, they had complete control over all the players. Like, I'm not able to do that, and also they would never get in this situation because they would have a referee host all the games. Now, yeah, words are hard, I agree. Now, in terms of what's going on in this game, it's pretty much mirror builds for both players in mirror colors in a mirror matchup. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the yellowest of them all in this game? I'm not too sure. But mirror builds looks like, I think this is Kingdom. I mean, there is a difference. I can see a difference in color on some buildings, because this is a green. This is actually a green. I don't know if I selected the right colors on the overlay, but it's essentially yellow versus green, but the colors look the same. Now, the core was a little bit later here for Kingdom. Kingdom built his core a little bit later, but he did go for a Zealot, whereas Marine did skip that. And yeah, Shift Tab doesn't work. It just actually makes them both yellow. Although, to be honest, look at this, Shift Tab. Shift Tab brings up these. Man, look at this. They're broken neutral buildings. I actually did mention this to Blizzard, because essentially neutral buildings don't show up as yellow unless you've done Shift Tab, which is kind of wait. I can't tell if I've Shift Tabbed or not. No, now I have. Okay. Gateway is the one thing we can tell them apart with. It's yellow versus green. It's actually yellow versus green. I can see it. And BT Game saying, oh, alt tab doesn't work. I just realized. I'll just alt tab out the game. You guys can watch the game on your own. I'm done. That's it. I'm packing up my toys. I'm going back home now. Albert's looking forward to the game. It is yellow versus green, so it's all good. We've got two gateways coming in from Kingdom. Only one gate, sorry, 2 gates from Marine, only 1 gate from Kingdom. He's going to go into Robo first. Now, if you don't know this map, there is 2 gases in every single one of the main. They are full gases. The minerals are full as well, so it's not like your main is any worse. It's actually a pretty good main base. Like, you don't have to leave this very early at all. I mean, I've seen a lot of players on this map rush to get the mineral only up here, but I honestly don't see the point. You may as well just stay on one base for a while, you build a lot of tech, you get Storm, you get Reavers, and you go for some drops. Now, you can already see Kingdom is getting ready with an observatory and a support bay. He's getting himself prepared in case there is DTs come in, but both players are going to be going Robo, just Marines is going to be a slight bit later. Now, one of the reasons why I say it's better to just stay on one base is when you're on one base, you hold up the ramp, and that's a lot easier to hold in this location, because even though there's the 3 minerals here creating the wall, which makes this a very tight choke, it still makes it quite difficult to hold on, especially in Dragoon versus Dragoon, because in Dragoon versus Dragoon, these mineral fields don't matter. And obviously if they don't matter, if you can range over them, there's absolutely no point. But when you're on the high ground, you get a mischance, so that's always good. Now, Reaver versus Reaver should mean this game is a pretty quick one for a PvP, although you can never be too sure. It's usually just a guaranteed quick game if it's DTs, because either the DT player wins or they just absolutely lose. Unless it's a noob versus best in the STPL Grand Final from Season 1, where you have like a crazy good PvP with DT versus DT. The base trade goes on for like 25 minutes, and both players are left with like 1 mining base. I don't think we'll ever get a repeat of that game, but that was amazing. That was a really good final game for a final. Now the playoffs this season, the final is going to be the same format, so the final will be a best of 7. Obviously we don't know who's going to be making it into the playoffs just yet, but the way the playoffs are going to work is Seed 1 from the group stage is going to go into the first semi-final, Seed 2 is going to go into the second side of the semi-final, Player 3 is going to go into the second side of the semi-final as well, second side of the quarter-final, and Player 4 will go on the left-hand side, the first side of... I'm going to make a bracket. You know what? I'm going to make a graphic. Oh, thanks, Albert. Hope you have a good day too. Lucky Noob saying a watch for you. Now the first Reaver is on its way for Marine. Kingdom's already got his first Reaver out on the map, so Kingdom definitely going to have a little bit of an advantage, but he will have a gateway disadvantage for the time being. So this means both players going to move out a little bit on the map and see what's going to happen. Now, I've finally trained my eyes to see the difference between the colors, so hopefully that makes it a bit easier. Actually, I really like this green. Like, it's a really nice green. It's just a shame it's up against yellow. Like, this green on Protoss buildings looks amazing. It looks more like gold. There's no way to change colors, game. But this is why I brought in the rule to host on top versus bottom. So if you do get any replays through from any of your players on VT, and it's not on top versus bottom, you shout at them for me. I give you power to shout at them. Berate them, do what you have to do, and make sure they host on top versus bottom next time. It's olive green, as Gosu Vijay is saying. Now, this is yellow, I believe. This is a probe from Kingdom, a probe from Marine. So Marine is looking to either put a scouting pylon up, also could go for a proxy, but I'm not too sure we'll see that. Now, that is the most unfortunate Scarab shot in the world. A bit of a waste, a bit of... Is it 15 or 25 minerals the Scarab is? I think it's 15, right? And I think Intercept is a 25. I'm really bad with costs for Protoss buildings. That's one of the things... Through the gap in Season 2 and 3, I'm going to play a little bit of Protoss and a little bit of Zerg, and see if I can actually work out the cost of all the buildings. I'm actually going to play a lot more of the game, because when I'm casting 3 days a week, a lot of the time I find it hard to just sit and play, because the time I could use, like, playing, I usually try and improve the STPL with it, so... You don't need a gap, that is true, but the players do, and I also need a little bit of a gap in between so I can get everything ready. There is a possibility we may have a second sponsor for Season 3. Obviously we need to speak to Liquipedia again and see if they want to continue supporting the STPL after Season 2. But if they do, things should be pretty good, and the prize pool should get a little bit of a boost, so that's always good. It is the Dildo King, there we go. No, it's not Dildo King. It's a shame. Lucky Noob saying they haven't responded. Aw, Lucky Noob actually wrote to them. That's amazing. Now we've got a Forge coming up for both players. Luckily enough for us, I know the colors are a bit funky, but they haven't actually engaged at all. So this is probably the weirdest PvP I think we'll see in a while. It's just pretty much both players powering up super hard. We've got a... That's an olive. Yeah, that's an olive pylon. That's a yellow pylon, and this is an olive zealot. Okay, and this is an olive probe. Right, we got it. We've figured it out. If we zoom right in, you can see the difference in color. Now, luckily enough, Dragoons is quite easy to spot the difference. So there we go. This should be a little bit easier when we get into the actual fights. Now, looks like Marine is going to push forward. Kingdom is going to hold on. One of the things, I think probably what happens is yellow versus olive green. Perhaps Blizzard don't see that as a similar color, so it doesn't... I'm actually going to have to check now. Yellow versus orange for me is perfectly fine. I can easily differentiate them. The ones I can't in Protoss are orange versus brown. Orange versus brown in PvP, especially on my old monitor, was pretty much unassailable. I couldn't work out what the hell was going on. Now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Yeah, 7 gateways for Kingdom. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Marine. 7th one coming in. Looks like, unfortunately, poor Rapid has gone down. He's going to have to mind meld with me in the bottom left. And it looks like poor Doc Holiday will probably be going down next. Yeah, Artosis, I'm very sorry. Doesn't work. It's a bit of a pain, but there we are. Yeah, it's because it's the game mode. It's essentially, if I put it in the game mode, it's because it's yellow versus orange. It's a bit of a mess, but I usually get people to host on top versus bottom to avoid this, but unfortunately this game wasn't. Yeah, it is a bit of a pain. Luckily enough, it's olive green. Well, it's not luckily enough, but I can just about tell the difference, so I'm not having too much trouble casting. We are going to have an engagement in the middle of the map. It looks like Kingdom going to push forward and see if he can possibly secure his base.
Love STPL laughing face. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Pefo, for the $5 donation there. Looks like we're going to have an engagement. Looks like Kingdom moving in here. There's lots of Zealot on Dragoon action at the top. Storm's coming in at the bottom. A little bit hard to see what's going on, but I can just about make it out. The mini-map is actually quite different looking at it now, so that's good. Looks like Kingdom definitely getting the better end of this engagement. Marine's army is completely melting here, and those Zealots did so much. The earlier 7th gateway really coming in there for Kingdom, and the 3 Reavers as well, doing a massive amount of work. Now, a DT is going to come out. There is an Observer here, though, for Kingdom, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But we've still got Kingdom just pushing his way through. I mean, Marine's trying to take a 3rd base up here. Looks like Kingdom securing his base in the 6 o'clock location. Both players, I mean, Marine isn't probably going to be able to secure his base. He's probably not going to be able to stay alive much longer. And now, due to this gap here, a lot of the Reavers at the back are completely stuck. So it does give Marine a little bit of a chance. But as you can see, or if you can't see, I'll explain it to you. There's actually no yellow units left. So Kingdom should have this game pretty sewn up. Marine saying, how can I deselect my army? XD, GG, Marine taps out. And Kingdom wins game number 1. Now once again, apologies for those colors. I have the feeling both of the players picked random, and it just gave them to those. And that happens sometimes, so... It was a relatively quick game, so you know what, I'm going to go straight into game 3. This unfortunately was a series with a couple of walkovers in, but we're not going to count the walkovers just yet. just because I need to confirm exactly how they went, because Dragon's way of putting it down was awful. We're going to be heading in to our third game. This is going... Oh wait, we're actually going to have to count it. So Kingdom 1 Game 1, I'm fairly certain Eon got a walkover in Game 2, but if it is different, we'll fix it at the end. We're going to be heading into a PvZ between Dragon and Michael. That should be a lot of fun. Michael is going to be our Protoss player here. Let's actually have a look at our third map even. Where are we? So let's have a look at the maps. New Tornado is going to be our third map here. Looks like we are blessed with some good colors in this one. We've got that weird olive green again, so that's a lot better. But in terms of maps, New Tornado, one of the more standard maps in the map pool, but actually one of the more imbalanced, the way the STPL has been going on so far. But in terms of ZVP, which we're going to be watching here, it's not too bad. It's the most balanced matchup we've had. We've had some really good players on this map as well. So looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out. If we have a look at our players, starting us off for NaS, it's going to be their captain. It's Dragon. Dragon, one of the highest ranked players in the STPL ELO system, ranked 9 overall, which is insanely high. He's got a 13 win, 2 loss win ratio against Protoss with his EVP, which is ridiculously good. He actually has, if I remember correctly, one of the highest... let me double check. Yeah, he has the all-time highest streak against Protoss players, which is 12. That is insane. How does he manage it? I have no idea. But Dragon continues to impress. 73% win rate overall. And looking good. His opponent going to be Michael. Michael's only played 2 games so far in the STPL, and he's ranked 84. He's got a 50% win rate. Not too much else we can add. As we get into game number 3, it's going to be Dragon versus Michael here on New Tornado. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the olive green Protoss player fighting for NaS. It's Dragon. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner in the orange is going to be the Protoss player from Bulgaria. It's Michael. Now Dragon, I've mentioned him many times before, we've seen many of his games in the STPL. He is one of the strongest Zerg versus Protoss players outside of Korea. It doesn't, well, at least in the STPL anyway. His EVP, like when you watch it, is kind of crazy. There's a reason why he won 12 or 13 games against Protoss in a row. I mean, how often can you essentially say that players have done that? Yeah, it was 12 games in a row he won against Protoss. Like, that was his highest win streak was 12 as well, so he's got a long way to beat that again. 12 weeks in a row winning ZVP. How do you do that? Okay, you can get lucky with okay, I'm gonna be honest here. You can see you get lucky with opponents, and that is true. But in 12 weeks, you're saying that he didn't fight a good player.
Thanks for all the work with STPL and for the community.
Thank you so much, Kogup, for the $30 donation, man. The support is much appreciated. Thank you very much for playing so much as well. Because if it wasn't for guys like you playing, I wouldn't have games to cast. So thank you so much. Now we've got a pull coming in for Dragon. I believe this was an overpull. Yep, it was. He's going to go overpull into Hatchery. Very, very standard build in ZVP. We had a gateway first come in from Michael, which I failed to notice. But a gateway first allows Michael to put on a little bit of pressure. Now, the reason why Overpool actually overtook 12 Hatch as the main build was because gateway first was actually killing all the Zergs like super quickly. If you go 12 Hatch, your lings are incredibly delayed, and it becomes very difficult to deal with these early zealots, especially if they're microed properly. So that's definitely a problem. Now, It'll be interesting to see where Michael goes from here. Does he just go for an expansion straight away? Does he go into a forge? He's going to have to spend a lot of his APM, a lot of his attention trying to ensure that he doesn't lose this probe, because this probe essentially is all the vision he's going to have until he can get a Stargate. The Zealot obviously going to come in and help out with that as well, but the Zealot unfortunately has been misclicked. That's really, really unfortunate. Rallied that into the wrong place or something. But that's a lot of missed damage opportunity. And ah, wait, he may be looking for the third base. He saw a drone leave out with his probe, and he didn't see it appear anywhere. So, a little bit unfortunate. He's gone to the wrong base. Looks like the other Zealot is actually going to head further back home. I'm not really sure why he's not really pushing with this, but I guess seeing 6 lings, and he knows they're dragon slings as well, probably best not to push. Now, Dragon, historically, has pretty much been going for a lot of really, like, macro styles. It's likely we'll see 5 hatch coming in from him. I don't think he's going to go for, like, a 9734 or anything. That's not really his style. His PVZ as well is really straight up, and it's actually really good. So, Dragon is one of the, I'd like to say rare occurrences, but it's not that rare, I guess, of people who can actually race pick and do really well at both of the matchups. Like, when you look at Dandy, like Dandy's PVT is good, but it's nowhere near as good as his TVP, whereas with Dragon's EVP and PVZ are both incredibly good. It's really tough to see which of those is actually his better matchup. And the reason behind it is he essentially understands all of the weaknesses of both races, because he plays both the matchups. Now, looks like that one Zealot did go in, doesn't get a single drone, and does get taken down by a ton of lings. Now, I did say Dragon wouldn't really play offensively, but he's built a lot of lings now. Now, this could be used to just kill these Zealots out in the middle of the map, but if he manages to get past this cannon, this is going to be a big, big problem for Michael, because this is essentially the only defense he has. Now, the probes have been pulled. He has to worry about the lings in the middle of the map. He has to respect his opponent. And looks like maybe he's not giving enough respect, because looks like 3 Zealots going to get into the main. This is going to do a ton of damage. One of them going to sit in the natural, gets 1 drone. Not going to get another one probably. Dragon really good with his drone pulls, but there is going to be a drone going down in the main. Should be another couple as well. The Zergling's going to find it very difficult to get up here. Now, does Michael go behind the minerals? That's a very good move to make. Thank you, Lee, for the resub. 5 months, man. Thank you so much for the support. Now, if we have a look, those Zealots are going to go down, but I think Dragon lost about 4 drones there, which is pretty impactful at this stage in the game. Now, Dragon does have his 3rd base up. He's got no worries of anything attacking him for the time being. He's killed all of the early Zealots. And that's definitely a problem. Now, the Citadel coming up, Stargate coming up as well. Looks like it was Stargate first, so he's not going to go for the more modern style, which is built to counter the 9734, but he doesn't have to worry about in this game, or worry about that in this game, should I say. He's definitely made Hydra Bust a little bit harder to do, and now I keep saying Dragon's not going to play offensively, but he's not got a lair coming up, he's not got a second gas, and he's not got a 4th or 5th hatchery coming either, so he is going for a Hydra Bust. Now, going for a Hydra Bust against a Protoss, it's a good move, but if the Protoss player is a little bit over defensive, you're not going to be able to break him with this. So let's see if this works. Of course, they're going to push the Overlord away, and of course that means if there is a Templar Archives, which there isn't just yet, only just now coming up, he's going to be able to build a couple of DTs. He's going to force away the initial Hydralisks, but it's whether or not he can deal with the further ones coming in. Corsair gets pushed back. The Overlord does stay alive. Very, very close to death, though. And just for the sake of... yeah, so these guys hosted on top versus bomb, but these colors are okay, so that's fine. Dragon did a good job, so did Michael. Yeah, just seeing if Drag wins this, it's a sham. I mean, Michael, he spent a lot of money on cannons. This is not necessarily something you want to be doing against Zerg, because if Zerg just rode up behind this, all of a sudden you're incredibly far behind as Protoss. But as you can see, he's building out Hydralisks from all of his hatcheries still. We've got a couple of Corsairs going to move out. They will see this. And Yaj saying 4 cannons isn't that much, but I mean, it definitely isn't now. But if all Dragon made was 3 Hydras and then went for mass drone, then Michael would be in a terrible spot. But going up to 7 cannons now, needing to make sure he uses this forge before it dies. Did +1 finish? No +1 ever actually came in, so losing out on that +1 definitely going to be a big problem. Now, Dragon has got himself in a little bit of an awkward situation now, because he did pretty much bet all in on going on Hydras there to try and bust through. But now he's going to have to kind of fall back with his tail between his legs. He has got a little bit of an advantage over Michael, forcing out so many cannons and delaying +1 for so long. But it is 42 workers to 28. And that's this is where the power of Zerg starts to come in, because you can really build a ton of a ton of drones in a row, and because Michael spent so much money on these cannons, he doesn't have mass gateway back at home. He's not going to be massing zealots, and it's going to give him a problem. And without that +1 attack as well, zealots just don't fare as well, or nearly as well, against Hydras. So I definitely give Dragon a bit of an edge here in this game. I know things look like they're going okay for Michael at the moment. But Dragon getting his 4th and 5th hatchery up, his 2nd gas coming in, his lair is coming in as well. Spire will likely come up straight away after this, and we should see a couple of evolution chambers going down. The first one in the natural already. Look at this, a DT trying to find its way in, getting blocked immediately by the Hydras back at home. And he's going to try and go to the 3rd base, but find exactly the same problem. Now, looks like there are actually, no, there is just 1 DT out on the map. I thought maybe if there was 2 DTs, he might be able to sneak 1 by. But Dragon definitely getting ready for this. He's got a lot of overlords up here as well, just to be careful, knowing that Corsairs could always be a problem. Now, interestingly, there is no overlord anymore by the Hydralisks at the front, so a DT could clean this up. But the DT trying to get by, unfortunately for him, not going to be able to do it, but he does get away with the DT's life, which is definitely useful. This DT will probably hang around, block a 5th base coming up, but Dragon already knows he's got his 4th base secured, so he's going to take that pretty quickly. +1 carapace coming in, lair is done. Not sure where the Spire is going, but looks like he is going to build his 3rd extractor, so he is going to be going quite gas heavy soon. The options he's got is going for a Spire. He could also go to a... he could go to... What am I saying? What am I saying, Kix? Think. This is why I don't use all my words at work in the day. Because I forget what I'm going to say. And now I've actually completely forgotten my train of thought. What I was going to say was, you can go up to Quick Hive, you can go for Queens. Now, Dragon isn't necessarily really a Queen user, but maybe he's taken a few tips from Eriador. Michael is actually on 63 workers, as Yaj points out, on 2 base, which is pretty much overkill for 2 base, really. But he can eventually move out on the map and go for a 3rd base. Interestingly, Dragon has chosen to pull all of his Hydralisks back. He's not going to risk losing them to a DT at the front. Now, Green is saying there's an idle drone on gas. Looks like it's been fixed now. Although, unless that was... Oh yeah, idle probe. Yeah, this is a ton of workers. Like, this reeks of someone who's maybe not super confident or maybe not as experienced. I do this all the time, where you just essentially keep building workers because in your head you're like, I have to build workers, I need to build workers, I need to build workers, and then you forget to stop. And that's a problem, because if you have a ton of workers, it means later in the game when you get maxed, your army is going to be a lot smaller than it should have been. Now we are going to see +1 is finished, +2 has started. He's got 2 forges on the way. He's on 7 gates now, so 6 in the main, 1 in the natural. Oh no, he lost that gate, so it's only 5 gates, so you can actually do with more gates actually. and he needs most certainly another base. Now, Dragon getting ready for this. He's got a Ling at both positions. Just keep an eye on exactly what his opponent's going to do. Dragon has started to absolutely pump the hell out of Lurkers because he knows Lurkers essentially make you invulnerable. Now, is there going to be a Hive? Yes, there is. Hive coming up. Queen's Nest is done. He's going to go for +2 carapace here, so he must be going for +1 attack here. No +1 attack just yet. That's a little bit of a mistake. He's built a third Evo chamber. But I'm not sure that's really going to help. Now, it looks like Michael wants to secure this, I guess this is a 5 o'clock base. Now, this is very far away from his main. It's going to be very difficult to defend. But luckily for him, Dragon is playing the old style of Zerg. Now, when I say the old style, this was the style that players like Savior used to use back in 2007. We've seen it a few times in the ASL. One of the most pressing examples of it was Lava in ASL 6 on Crossing Field, I think it was, where essentially he just defended all game and eventually won. Yeah, it's going to cause a problem. One thing Aerodor points out, which I was about to mention as well, is if Michael just mass expands, Dragon's not going to be able to stop him because he's not really got units that can attack right now. He's got units that can defend. Now, Michael's at 78 probes. Is he continuing adding? No, it looks like he has stopped finally. Now, if he converts these probes into more bases, if he takes all of the bottom left-hand side, he's going to be in a great spot because even though he'll have a ton of probes, he'll have the money to constantly resupplement his army. But for now, it's looking difficult. Now, a probe is going to jump up and check. Wow, that was the most overkill kill on a probe I've ever seen. Like 8 Lurker Spines or something, and like 3 Sunken shot at the same time. Yeah, Gold Rush versus Best as well was a good example of that as well, but there was a Crossing Field game with Lava where essentially he just defended the whole game. It was really frustrating to watch because I can't remember who his opponent was, but essentially it looked like the Protoss just couldn't do anything about it. And because it's a 2-player map, it made it even worse because Lava managed to take more of the bases, and even though Protoss managed to trade pretty efficiently, he could never trade as efficiently as a Zerg player who wasn't spending any money, so that causes problems. Now, one big thing missing from Michael's play at this point in the game is he's not going for any harassment. He's not got any shuttles, he's not got speed, he's not going for any storm drops. I mean, if we check where Dragon's defense is, he's got a lot of defense at the front, but his mineral lines are completely open. Like, even if he drops DTs in the main, he's going to do a ton of damage. Now, obviously getting the DTs in the main is a problem, but it's something you have to try. You have to go for harassment. If you let the Zerg just do whatever they want, they're going to go up to Hive like Dragon has, they're going to secure a 5th base, and you're going to be pretty much screwed, because one thing to note about this map, and it's something that I do mention every time, there are 2,000 minerals at the naturals of the other bases. So they're essentially super bases. They take forever to run out. The gases are normal, so the gases do run out at the same time as a normal base, but the minerals last forever, so looks like this is going to be a really long game because this could go split map. Now, as long as Michael can manage to secure this base, if he can take this base as well and stop Zerg from having this base, he will have the advantage. But the trouble is, he's going to mine out so quickly. He's on 83 workers. Only 120 of his supply is actually attacking units. So his army is minuscule at this point. There's way too many probes. Now, Michael is, in fact, of course, maxed out. So he is going to have to try and make something happen. There's still no harassment coming in. But he does have an army heading into one location, whereas Dragon's army is split up across 2 different areas. Now, you can see a lot of defilers up here in the top left, and actually there's no defilers in the natural. This could be a big anti-timing. It looks like Michael trying to come in here. Let's zoom out a little bit to keep it all on the map. Looks like we do have the Nidus there, so the where are the defilers? Why are they not coming through? Are they stuck? He's just not sending his defilers. I think he just thinks he has enough. And it's looking like he does. Look how quickly Michael's army's melting. This is crazy. He's on 2-2 upgrades against 1-2. And all of his units are just getting destroyed. There's going to be a flank from the bottom as well, killing a lot of the final Dragoons. Now, finally, we have some Storm Drops. That is going to kill a good number of probes, but unfortunately... Oh, no, he flies into the Scourge. The shuttle goes down. And things are definitely not looking good for Michael right now. He does have the minerals. He does have the gas. He has the probes to be able to rebuild his army. But can he rebuild it quick enough? Now the sad thing for me is we finally got to see a storm drop, and it didn't really do anything. Yeah, and Koga's saying it looks like Michael kind of went to the main to build units, and this is where the problem starts coming in. Look at the sheer number of units coming out of Dragon's bases right now. He knows he took an incredibly good engagement, and he's going to try and use that to take a win. He's going to push in here, Swarm going down on top of the cannons, making them absolutely useless. Storm is going to be good against the Lings, but they're not even going to be able to get there due to the sheer number of Lings, the sheer number of Lurkers blocking the units. Now there is... I thought this was Michael's army coming in, but it is just more Lings. Dragon is firing on all cylinders now. His macro is out of control, and he is getting on top of the 4th base of Michael. The 5th base will be next to fall, and the 3rd base, there isn't actually that much. Okay, I'm just going to point out he has 61 drones, and this is not saturated. I think he's way oversaturated in his natural. But 4th base goes down. The Robo that was trying to build some Panic Reavers goes down as well. And looks like Michael may have just got a little bit outclassed here. It's a little bit unfortunate. We do have another base coming up right in the way of a Zergling, which is not where you want to be as Zerg. Unfortunately, there's no queens, but there is a drone coming down here as well. If he mana hatches, I think I'll be a little bit disappointed in Dragon, but he is a North American, so we know that they can do it. Oh my god, the drone's attacking. Does he get the kill on this? Oh, he doesn't. Does he get the kill on this Zealot? No. Okay, well... Drone's not going to get any kills, but he is going to put... Oh! The drone coming in. He's helping out. Look at him. Look at him go! Now we've got Swarm on the ramp. All of the units going to be flying back through Lurkers to try and get back to defend. The poor drone has gone down. Swarm to save the Defiler against itself. But unfortunately that's not going to work. And I think this just could be it. I don't think there's too much for Michael to be able to do here, other than fall over. He's not got that many probes left anymore, but he's down to 2 bases. Only one of them is mining. The Supernatural is holding strong. I mean, I guess this base is mining, but not really. GG, Michael taps out, and Dragon takes game number 2. Now, I agree that game was very weird. It felt to me, honestly, like both players were just super macroing up. Like, I mean, well, it's obvious the Dragon was. He was essentially just sitting there waiting for Protoss to throw the game away. I guess that happens in PvZ sometimes. A little bit unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Now, we're not going to say the results of this game, well, this series, but it is, of course... Wait. Yeah, that's 3... I think it's 3-0 in favor of NaS. So, NaS are going to win the series. We don't have another game to see, but I don't know who actually got the walkover in which game. So, before I report it... okay, so I think I've got it right. So, in the final game, Mitek actually got a walkover over Terran. So, Terra even. Let's add Dragons win there. Let's add the win for Mitek as well. We'll add the fact that it's a group stage, add the win to NaS, and that'll be... yeah, thank you, Hienbu. I just checked that as well. I was waiting for him to respond, so I'm kind of glad he did. Okay, so that's going to be the end of Season 1. End of Season 1? Wow, where am I? I'm like... however many months ago. It's the end of the series. Let's have a look at the final score, and then we'll go into a little bit of a break. Thank you, Rathis, for the host, man. But let's have a quick look here. Yeah, the fact it is a global team league, the fact we are 12 weeks in as well, we've done really well for walkovers this season, so I'm not actually that worried at the fact there's a few walkovers at the end. At the end of the day, if players don't turn up, they're only hurting their own team, because realistically, if we were looking here, we would have Terra winning over Mitak most likely, so NaS have missed out on an extra game win. I don't want to knock out Mitak here, but I mean, Terra is on another level to pretty much most of the other foreign players, so... And yeah, VT versus Seoul is probably going to be on Monday or Wednesday. The game after this I'm going to show is going to be EF versus NetWars, so that should be a lot of fun. It'll be coming up when we get back after this short break. See you guys soon.